Live from Triton College, Lane Tech boys basketball is on the air. It's game number 3 of the 2022 Chicagoland Coaches United Invitational as the Lane Tech champions look to break a 2-game skid. But in their way, a red-hot West Aurora Blackhawks team who have won 4 straight after dropping 3 of their first 6 games of the season. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's Alex Burstein above midcourt here at Triton. It's already been an exciting day of basketball, a really good game to start things off. Lindblom just falling short against Ladin, 54-52. Second game of the day got a little weird. I believe it was a forfeit win at the end of things. Rich Township took the win over Farragut. There was an injury, and then both teams cleared their benches, so it ended up, I believe, going as a win for Rich Township. But now we're on the game number 3, and it should be a fun one. Lane Tech coming off of a rough loss against Farragut. Meanwhile, last night, a big win for West Aurora over Manuka. They won by about 40 points in that one. So this is a West Aurora team that's really finding their strides. They're a young team, but they have a very young star in a top 10 junior in the state, Josh Pickett. He's been lighting up the scoreboards, has a really good supporting cast in CJ Savage, as well as in Terrence Smith. So this is a loaded young West Aurora team, and we will see what they can do against a somewhat depleted Lane Tech team, and we'll take you through the starting lineups and you will see what we mean by that. So we'll start off with Lane Tech. They are without Dalton Scantlebury and Jack Zor here today, so they are missing 2 of their usual starters for tonight's matchup. Because of that, it is going to be a different looking... You're good. No, you're good. Because of that, it's going to be a different looking lineup tonight for Lane Tech. They are going with instead of Dalton Scantlebury, Dylan Pepper is going to be in the starting lineup, and instead of Jack Zor, it'll be Jackson Labcon. So your 5 tonight for Lane Tech to start things off are going to be Labcon, Solibo, Lorenzo Aquino, Dylan Pepper, Shahid Solibo, as well as, missing one name here, Jackson Labcon. So those will be your 5 for the champions. And apologies, folks, just getting our camera all right here early on so that we don't have any glitches during the game. But those are going to be your 5 for the champions, and then we'll run through the starting lineup here for West Aurora. Is a very strong starting 5. This is a team that has good hopes for the state series, and for good reason. Calvin Savage, Josh Pickett, Jordan Brooks, Billy Samp, and Terrence Smith will be your starting 5 this afternoon for the West Aurora Blackhawks, as West Aurora in their white uniforms take the court here. They'll be going from right to left across your screen for tonight's matchup. Lane Tech in their away green jerseys, they will be going from left to right. And apologies, folks, the music here is booming, and because of that, we have had our camera a little shaky at times, but I think it should be good to go for the rest of the way. West Aurora 7-3 on the year. They are the winner of 4 straight matches, including, as we mentioned last night, a 63-21 win over Manuka. Lane Tech comes into tonight's matchup 5-5, 500 exactly. They're looking to get above the 500 mark tonight. They have lost 2 straight games, and they will look to rebound from 2 rough losses, first to Lamont and then an overtime loss against Farragut this past Wednesday. As in the circle to start things off, it's going to be Dylan Pepper for Lane Tech taking his first tip-off of the season. As we mentioned, Dalton Scantlebury not active for tonight's game. And for the Blackhawks, it'll be number 20 Billy Samp, who is in the circle, a 2-sport athlete, also a very impressive football player. So it'll be Samp versus Pepper to get things going. Referee at midcourt. Game number 3 of today's Invitational at Triton College just about underway, as West Aurora wins the tip, and we are underway here from Triton College. Lane Tech looking to get to win number 6 on the year. The West Aurora Blackhawks looking to get their 5th straight win. This is a West Aurora team led by Josh Pickett. He's a future D1 star, top 10 in the state in the class of 2024, as getting fouled to the basket is Josh Pickett, as we talk about him. But he's got a really good supporting cast of characters. Calvin Savage and Terrence Smith, namely Smith, just a sophomore, was a part of this team last year. He's a 2-sport athlete, but basketball he really stars in, already has a D1 offer at NIU, so Smith, a big part of this team. And then also Calvin Savage, he's a transfer from East Aurora, a very impressive ball player as well. So those are the 3 to keep your eye on here tonight for West Aurora. Pickett's been a pretty solid free throw shooter this year, as he actually misses both of his first two. Some rare misses. Rebound by Shahid Salibo, and that's the matchup to look for tonight. Salibo versus Pickett. Salibo's about a top 15 2024 in the state. Pickett's a top 10. Both these players are near the top of the junior class in Illinois, and it very well could come down to which of those two play better tonight, as Pepper gets it to a streaking Salibo in the corner to Labcon, and they will reset their offense here to Shahid Salibo. Lane is playing with a shot clock for the second time this season. We saw them play against Taft with a shot clock earlier this season at the Chicago League Classic, as that will be a shot clock violation. Lorenzo Aquino just hit a very long three, but the shot came out after the 35 seconds were up, so it will not count, and we will stay scoreless here with just over 7 minutes to play in the first quarter of action. Not sure if West Aurora has played with a shot clock yet. They're playing at Pontiac in a couple of weeks. I assume they might have a shot clock there, as the long two rims around and out here from Smith. Some cold offense out of the gate for both of these squads, which is definitely not what they've been used to in recent games. Lane had a somewhat decent start against Farragut offensively on Wednesday, and then obviously a 40-point win last night. There was hot offense for West Aurora, as first 2 points come from Parker Springer on a nice dish underneath the basket, and Lane Tech will take the early lead here at Triton College 2-0. Long three on its way from Pickett. Lane cannot leave him open. That's where it will get dangerous, but Lane Tech gets lucky there. The shot rims around and out, and we will stay at 2-0 here in quarter number 1, 6:13 to play. Pepper down low, playing his first start of the year. Can't finish with the basket there, though, as Aurora will rush back in transition. Pickett with a couple of missed shots early on, and a turnover here into the hands of Shahid Salibo. We'll see if they can make him pay. Aquino in the corner, 4-3. He's made one. It didn't count. His first one that would count does not make it, and they will say it goes off of Lane Sec here. So West Aurora will get the basketball back with 5:51 to play here in the first quarter of action. Very low scoring here, just 2 points through the first 2+ minutes of play. You really would not expect a defensive battle between these two squads, but that's what's been early, as underneath the basket, hitting his first points of the night, number 11, Jordan Brooks. Had a 19-point game recently against Plainfield North. Brooks is kind of a underrated part of this West Aurora squad, but he's had a couple of very good games this year, and he gets the Blackhawks on the scoreboard. In the corner, they give it to Pepper. Can't hit the three. Springer fighting for the rebound, won't get it to go. And West Aurora now trying to take their first lead of the night. They punch it out. Smith with the flat-footed jumper gets it to go. Interesting looking shot there from the 6'4" sophomore, but he gets the shot to hit. And West Aurora will take their first lead of the game as we reach the 5-minute mark to go in quarter number 1. Salibo thought about the response three. Instead, Labcon fires up the three ball, gets it to go. An excellent shot there from Jackson Labcon to put Lane Tech back in the lead here. 5-4, 4.5 to play. On the response, Savage can't hit the three, and there will be a whistle blown down low. We'll see what the call is. We haven't seen Labcon take that many shots the last couple of games. He's been a very good ball facilitator. We've seen him bring the ball up the court. At times he's been hesitant to shoot the three ball, it looks like, from our perspective. Takes the three there, nothing but net to give Lane Tech back the lead here, and that was a defensive whistle, so Lane Tech will get the possession back. Williams hands it off here to Lorenzo Aquino. No substitutions for either of these teams yet, as Salibo pulls for three, can't hit it in the face of his defender there, Smith. And West Aurora will get it back. You can expect Lane Tech to maybe do some less substitutions here today, as a blocking foul called against Williams, where they're without Jack Soar, they're without Dalton Scantlebury, and this is a team that for most of the year has played a 7 to 9 man rotation. So right now we can expect maybe a 5 to 7 man rotation here today with 2 of those players out. So expect these 5 guys on the court here today to get a lot of playing time. As driving to the basket, Brooks got a nice angle there. Offensive rebound, and a travel, looks like, oh no, they're going to call 5 seconds in the paint. It was a nice offensive rebound from Billy Sam, who hadn't touched the ball since the tip-off, but possession will go back to Lane Tech. It's happened 2 times on the last 2 possessions. First a foul and then a violation from West Aurora has given Lane Tech some luck on the defensive end. Shahid Salibo gets trapped up, tries to dribble through some defenders, and they will say he got fouled. Wasn't sure if that was going to be called a double dribble or not, but they will say Salibo got fouled first. That's team foul number 2 here on the Blackhawks, and Lane Tech will get to inbound it. Jackson Labcon gets it to Pepper, and that is where Lane Tech will reset the offense near the Trojan logo at midcourt. Second college gymnasium Lane Tech is playing in this year as Williams to the basket gets the 2 to go. We saw on the other side of the court, Brooks got a very nice open look to the basket, couldn't convert it. Williams makes him pay, getting an open look and converting it on the other side. Nice move to the basket, unable to finish the and one there is Savage, but they should call that a shooting foul, and we will see Calvin Savage head to the line here. As we mentioned, a transfer from East Aurora, headed across town to play for West Aurora this year. Just a junior, one of the players running the point this year for the Blackhawks. But he is a very impressive part of this squad, as first shot missed off the back of the rim. Entering this week, he was averaging just a hair under 13 points per game. It's interesting, we've seen 3 free throws attempted, 3 misses, and now they'll finally get one in here for the Blackhawks. So we'll move to 7-5 here with 3:15 to go in the first quarter. Thanks for joining us. Alex Burstein on the call here from Triton College, game number 3 of today's Invitational here. A lot of good games so far, and then some very good matchups later tonight. We'll discuss more of those later as Salibo gets stripped of the basketball. Savage trying to go coast to coast and gets the nice bounce into the basket. An excellent move there from Calvin Savage. I thought for a second he was going to pass it off because he had 2 Lane Tech guys with some pretty tight coverage. Decides to take it himself and will convert. So 7-7, 2:40 left to go. Labcon's made 1 3 and will airball his second attempt of the night. So the Blackhawks will get it back with the chance to take the lead, even with just 1 point off a free throw. So any scoring will bring the lead back to West Aurora here. It's been a very back and forth game. A lot of lead changes, a lot of ties here early on between these 2 squads. Pickett trying for his first points of the night and gets it to go. You can expect a lot more of those tonight as Pickett, the team's leading scorer, gets on the scoreboard here tonight and puts his team back in front 9-7. Shahid Salibo being guarded by Pickett. There we said the top 2 of the top 20-24s in the state. This one will go back to Pickett, trying to make it 2 straight baskets. Can't convert, no foul called, but an excellent putback there from Billy Sam. And this West Aurora team starting to find their footing. They go up by 4. That's the largest lead of the game for either one of these teams. And this is where Lane Tech really needs to lock in. And you can look at last week's game against Lamont as 3-ball on its way by Williams off the mark. Lane came in an underdog last week, came in as an underdog here today. They played Lamont very well for the first quarter and a half, but then they let the Lamont team just take complete control in the second quarter. We're seeing West Aurora get some momentum back here near the end of the first quarter. We'll see how Lane Tech is able to respond here, or if the Blackhawks are going to be able to run away with the victory here. Pickett gained double teamed, an open Sam down low, can't hit the and one, but will head to the line, trying to hit some extra points here for the Blackhawks. Sam, who plays with Illinois Stars, IBA for AAU, Shahid Salibo's former team, will miss the first free throw off the back of the rim, so we'll stay at a 4-point lead, and we'll see our first subs come into the game as Kenny Rosario checks in for Williams, and Smith is going to check out of the game as we see Jordan Brooks. Okay, we missed one sub, but Jordan Brooks is going to check back into the game for the Blackhawks. And I believe the extra player right now is Tavion McLean for West Aurora. We missed him coming into the game, but he will make his first appearance here in the first quarter. Just over a minute to play here from Triton College. First quarter, so Lebo can't hit the floater, gets his own rebound, and fighting on the ground, comes up with it. They will call a foul. That's going to be a third team foul here on West Aurora. So 4 team fouls against Lane Tech, 3 against the Blackhawks here in the first quarter as Trevor Goodhart checks into the game for Jackson Labcon. Haven't seen Labcon get much or any first quarter playing time, but as we mentioned, with those couple of players out for the champions here today, we may see some lineup changes as Solibo, trying to do it all himself, loses the basketball again, picks it up. The turnaround 2 rims around and out, and a couple of missed shots here by Solibo. 3 ball on its way from Brooks, who drains it. Brooks, a very talented player. We've seen him be able to get to the basket as a steal here from McLean underneath the basket, going up for 2. Missed a shot there was Michael Evans, and Goodhart will take down the rebound with just over 30 seconds to play. Shot clock off here to end the first quarter. Keno being guarded by Savage. They'll give it down low to Solibo. The fadeaway 2, he finally hits the shot there and gets Lane Tech back into this one, 14-9. Apologies, folks, our score bug just got messed up here, but we will adjust that at the end of the first quarter. 10 seconds. West Aurora holding the basketball. That's Savage. He gives it to McLean. Pickett is on the bench here for this last shot. Savage with the deep 3 off the rim. Pepper will grab it, and that will bring us to the end of 1 quarter of play. Lane Tech held it with the lead for the first couple of minutes, but it will be a 5-point Blackhawks lead at the end of 1 quarter of play, but still anyone's game, 14-9. Your score at the end of 1 quarter. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Boys Basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. We head to the second quarter of action here from Triton College, game number 3 of the Chicagoland Coaches United Invitational here at Triton College. It was a decent drive up for both of these teams here to get to Triton College this morning. Much longer for Aurora. It's about a 15, 14-mile drive up from Lane Tech, almost directly west of where the champions play their home games. For West Aurora, 35 miles was the trip up this morning here to just west of Chicago. I believe we're in River Grove, is the exact city of Triton, but west for the champions, east for West Aurora, but this West Aurora team does not look tired at all. They have a 5-point lead as we enter the second quarter here from Triton. Lorenzo Aquino will bring it past half court. It's Aquino, Solibo, Abushalumfa, Rosario, and Goodhart, your 5 on the court, as this one goes off the hands of McLean there, who was trying for the steal, and Lane Tech will get possession. So Omar Abushalumfa checks into the game on his birthday here to start off the second quarter, and Lane currently with just 2 starters in the game in the form of Aquino and Solibo. As they get it to Solibo on the far side, 7:45 to go. Nice move by Solibo, who finishes with the 2. A nice move there. And we saw some struggles there for a couple of minutes from Solibo, but he's hit the last 4 points here for the champions. It looks like he's settling into his usual rhythm of play. And when Lane Tech is missing a star like Dalton Scantlebury, you're going to need your other star in Solibo to step up. As wide open 3 on its way from McLean. That one off the mark, and there's going to be a foul called down low. Since this is a college court, there are multiple 3-point lines. We've seen almost all the threes taken from the college 3-point line. However, the high school line is technically where you need to shoot from. As nice pump fake, and unable to finish there was Evans. We've seen a couple of good shot attempts from Michael Evans. as Blackhawks will keep possession here. He's not been able to hit any of his shots, I believe, as Parker Williams checks into the game for Lorenzo Aquino. So we've already seen 8 players make appearances here tonight as corner 3 on its way. This one off the mark, continuing three-point struggles for both of these teams, but in for the quick 2 there was Evans, just as we were talking about him. He gets a quick put back to move the lead back up to 5 here for the Blackhawks. We haven't seen a lead larger than 5 for either one of these squads. Goodhart's lob pass gets intercepted. Savage trying to work in transition, and another foul is going to be called. That's going to be team foul number 6 here against Lane Tech in the first half. So the next foul should put the should put the Blackhawks into the bonus as Rosario checks out of the game for Williams. So it'll be Williams, Goodhart, Abushalemfa, Drew Bartoli, and Shahid Salibo. Drew Bartoli also making his first appearance of the night. So that's going to be 9 guys who have now checked into the game for the champions. And as we were saying, Lane might go for a 5 to 7 man rotation tonight. They are exactly not doing that. They've already put in a lot of their eligible players as Kite to the basket, finishing with the and one is Calvin Savage. A burst of speed to the basket. He finishes with the shot and will get a chance at the 3-point play. A beautiful drive and just transition there from Calvin Savage. As we mentioned, he came into this week almost averaging 13 points per game. He's a very impressive ball player, and he completes the 3-point play to move the lead up to 8, the largest it has been tonight for either team. Williams will bring things up the court. Bunch of guys on the court right now who have ball handling capabilities as Salibo looks to make some work here to the basket. Instead gets the ball stolen. This one bounces around a couple of players. Salibo steals it back. He doesn't have numbers though, so pulls for 3. Missed shot, gets his own rebounds. I think that's the 3rd time tonight Salibo has gotten his own rebounds, and he will throw it off the legs of a couple of defenders as Dylan Pepper was going to check into the game. Now a timeout is going to be called, so first timeout called of the night. We should mention this Lane Tech team has put West Aurora into the bonus now with 17 fouls. So West Aurora will be shooting 1-1 the rest of the first half, which is 6:02 to go here in the second quarter. Jackson Labcon is also going to check into the game after this timeout break. This is the final tune-up game for West Aurora before they head out to Pontiac next week, or maybe in 2 weeks technically, to play in one of the nation's first holiday tournaments, one of the most famous tournaments in Illinois during the holiday time. They've got a okay matchup to start things off, playing against the host Pontiac, but if you look at the bracket, it gets rough for West Aurora. If they win that first game, they're going to have to face off against what should be an undefeated Simeon team who has shown they are clearly the best team in the area right now. So second round matchup, West Aurora and Josh Pickett against Simeon and the whole squad, the Rubin twins and everyone they have over there. Could be very interesting. I was talking with head coach Brian Johnson from this West Aurora team, talking about his team playing in big events like today, like Pontiac. He was just saying he hopes to see his team be competitive in all these games, see improvement in how they play, and then it's preparing them for a very tough conference schedule. And if you look at the Southwest Prairie Conference, they're in the West Division, but if you look at the other Division 2 where they do play games, you have Oswego East in their own division. They've lost twice already to Oswego East. They're one of the top teams in the area. But then in the other side of the conference, you have Joliet West, who's one of the top teams in the state. I mean, they're a state contender. So Southwest Prairie, a very strong conference this year. And with West Aurora heating up right now, you could very well have 3 state final contenders, I guess you could say, in West Aurora, Oswego East, and Joliet West, as there's going to be a brief pause in action here as the referees are talking to the West Aurora coaching staff. After the timeout is Williams, Pepper, Salibo, Bartoli, and Labcon, your 5 on the court for the champions. They get inside the Williams, tries to finish with the 2, does the turnaround 2, can't get it. Pepper there for the rebound. No foul called, though, on the putback, and the Blackhawks will get it back in transition. And a travel called on Savage. You do not see a lot of errors like that out of the junior. However, Lane Tech catches a lucky break. Lane in desperate need of some points right now. They trail 19-11. It's the largest deficit here tonight for either one of these teams. And you really would think Lane Tech wants to keep this a single-digit game and get some points here midway through the second quarter. Williams in the corner. Tough assignment with McLean guarding him, and misses the shot. Foul called on the ground. They will say it goes against Lane Tech. That will be team foul number 8, but since it is, oh no, they are going to save free throws here. So we will see our first bonus free throws of the night. I originally assumed that it was just going to be possession, but I think they said that West Aurora had the basketball first and then got fouled, so it'll be free throws now on the way from number 14, Michael Evans, the 6-foot junior shooting guard. And makes the first one, so he will get a second one. West Aurora, after missing their first 3 shots, have made 3 or 4 in a row now. Scrolling through their stats last night, and a lot of players shooting 50+, 60+, even 70+ from the line. This is a team that really knows how to hit their free throw shots, as Evans goes 2 for 2 from the line and brings the lead up to 10 points. We see a slow full court press brewing here. Savage with the assignment of Solivo. They get it down low to Pepper in the corner. Williams was open there. Bartoli was open. He cuts to the basket and finishes with the 2. That's something we've seen Bartoli good with all year long. He just always able to get to the basket, but a quick response from Terrence Smith, who jams it down for the 2. Smith has been quiet here early on, but gets some easy points there and keeps the lead at double digits for the Blackhawks. 23-13, 4:50 to go in quarter number 2 of play. Lane Tech sticking with this West Aurora team, but they're having some hard time stopping them on offense, as Solibo can't hit the 2. Second chance from Labcon. He misses his 3rd 3-point attempt of the night, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. And on the other side of things, McLean quickly hits a 2. And Aurora just starting to roll through this Lane Tech defense. They're playing very well in transition, hitting their shots. It's not been as many 3-point shots as you may have expected. They're really working it inside, but that's been what's working, as Solibo can't hit the quick response too, and West Aurora will take it back up court. Savage trying to go to the basket, can't finish with the 2. The putback almost good there from Smith. That would have been quite the play. Grabbing the rebound is McLean. Now another chance, 3 off the mark, and they will get chance number 4. McLean to the basket, can't finish with the 2. 4 chances there for West Aurora to score. They are not able to convert on any of them, but it kind of shows you how they've been able to get these offensive rebounds. Labcon misses the 3, and West Aurora will get back the basketball. And if you look at this West Aurora record, 7-3, they have some losses, some big losses even, if you look at their games against Oswego East and a 4-point loss to Yorkville. But you really have to look at the whole season this team has had. They came into the year ranked 18th by the Sun-Times. There's a lot of potential. It's a very young team, so you kind of expect them to have some growing pains, but they are really starting to hit their mark. You saw that last night, 40-point win over Manuka. They have won 4 straight games, and they look like they're on their way to 5 straight wins if they can keep this up here tonight. 3:20 to go in the second quarter. Possession will stay with West Aurora here underneath their scoring basket. And a whistle's going to be called. Offensive foul on Savage, it looks like. Braden Rosenkrantz checked into the game momentarily for the champions. He came in for Drew Bartoli, and we will see Michael Evans check back into the game here momentarily for the Blackhawks. Talking about the holiday tournament for West Aurora. Interestingly enough, Lane Tech not playing in a holiday tournament this year. They had an invitation, possibly, I'm not sure. They decided not to play in the tournament they were invited to, so instead they're just going to have a week or 2 off, as Pepper underneath the basket goes up for 2, gets it to go, and Lane Tech's going to need some shots like that coming up quickly. But because of that, next week is kind of an important week for Lane Tech. They have 2 games before the week off, and if things continue to go the way they are today, this very well could be 3 straight losses for the champions, and they're going to want some late wins. As another quick 2 here from Savage. Savage has kind of been the player to watch here. Pickett with 1 or 2 baskets, but Savage has been doing the majority of the scoring here for the Blackhawks with 2.5 to play in quarter number 2. So Lebo thinks about the 3, instead will drive. So Lebo's had some good looks at the basket. He's made a couple of nice shots, but you can tell he's just trying to do it all, and it has not been working against this Blackhawks defense. It's playing some very aggressive man-to-man, and an offensive foul called here against Lebo. So Savage gets an offensive foul called against him on the other side of the court, and then draws an offensive foul on defense. So I guess you can say those 2 things evened out as Pickett will check back into the game and bring things up the court. Pickett with some high D1 offers, has some Power 5 offers. Northwestern recently offered him as he pulls for 3, and a travel called. Players were confused. I'm just as confused. Not sure where that travel was called, as we will see Pickett check back out of the game. Michael Evans come in. So Lane Tech with a lucky break there. They did not let the shot go from Pickett, but they still trail by 12 here as Lorenzo Aquino checks into the game for Jackson Labcon. 1:59 to go in quarter number 2 of action. So it'll be Williams, Aquino, Rosencrantz, Pepper, and Salibo on the court. Salibo's waiting on the other end of things. And a nice job there by Smith to punch the ball away. And because of that, Salibo's going to move back into the back court. So it looks like Lane Tech may have all 5 of their guys on the defensive side of the court trying to inbound it because of this full court that the Blackhawks have put on. Now Williams will easily stride across the midcourt line. A little bit of a scoring drought here by the champions. They trail by 12, 1:45 to go. First half of play here from Triton College, and a defensive foul is going to be called here. Seeing the whistles really pick up these last couple of minutes. That is team foul number 5 on West Aurora. They've done a very good job of not fouling this half, and it looks like they made a avoid putting Lane Tech into the bonus throughout this entire first half. So we'll see Billy Sant check back into the game for Savage. Inbounding the basketball, try to get to Salibo. The inbound defense here today from West Aurora has been very impressive. We saw it just a couple of seconds ago with the poke away from Smith. Right there, we saw the ball punched away on the inbound from Aquino. Just very active. This is a very physical West Aurora team, and it's been key to some of their wins this year, and it's working well today here against Lane Tech. Physicality was one of the things that Brian Johnson said his team needed to do against this Lane Tech squad. He saw the intensity, the physicality that Lane Tech plays with, and he just wanted to see his team handle the defense that Lane Tech brought out today, and they've done a good job with that. Breaking the Lane Tech D multiple times en route to what's currently a 12-point lead with under 90 seconds to play in quarter number 2. They get inside to Samp in the corner. Not able to take as much time off the clock each possession as West Aurora probably would have wanted because of the shot clock, as 3-ball on its way. It's been interesting watching the couple of Lane Tech games with the shot clock and watching the other games at the Chicago League Classic with the shot clock. It really does not seem, in my opinion, to be making that much of a difference. We saw one shot clock violation here early on, but I feel like the teams have adjusted pretty well, and they have not had to make that many adjustments with their playing style, it seems like, when they're playing with the shot clock. As the first free throw here, good from Pickett, breaking a streak of 2 missed free throws earlier in the game. But, I mean, you haven't really seen many offensive struggles more than what the team already has because of how long the shot clock is, 35 seconds. This is something that head coach Nicholas Lagalbo has been arguing for a long time, along with some other coaches in the area, looks like finally starting to come into fruition. Select events, including this one throughout this season, and then I imagine the next 2-3 seasons we may see it implemented at a more widespread level. As a pushing foul here called against Jordan Brooks, and Lane Tech will keep possession here with 50.5 seconds to go. Michael Evans checks back into the game for Pickett. Those two have been going in and out for each other throughout this second quarter. It's a very active substitution style from this West Aurora coaching staff, but seems to be working for them as Aquino gets it in. 30 seconds on the shot clock. Gets it out to Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz, who had a couple of, his defenders had a couple of inches on him, tried to find a way through both those defenders, but instead of fouls going to be called, that will be team foul number 7, and the champions will break into the bonus. So we talked a little too soon here as Pickett checks in now for Billy Samp. And that's what we were saying, lots of substituting. We saw Pickett check out about 10 seconds of game time ago, and now he checks back in as Rosenkrantz misses the first shot, will not get a chance at a second one. 29-15, 30 seconds and change to go here in the first half. Shot clock is still on, about 4 seconds separating game and shot clock here as they punch it out to Pickett. West Aurora is going to head into the locker room with a comfortable lead here in game number 3 of today's Invitational. We'll see if it will be more than 14 or not. Pickett, 4 seconds on the shot clock, goes up the middle and gets fouled, so that will mean free throws. And Lane was very close to forcing a shot clock violation there, but Pickett gets lucky, gets bailed out at the end there, and will head to the line. Entering this week, he was averaging 78.2% from the line, so that's almost 4 out of every 5 shots made. Pickett, a very solid free throw shooter, as he drains another one here to get his team to 30 first half points. Billy Samp will await coming into the game with 6.7 seconds on the clock, and he makes the second one as well as Pickett checks out of the game for Samp. And the carousel of Pickett in and out of the game continues here with 6.7 seconds to go in the first half. They get to Pepper. They're going to need a quick shot. Got a screen, so Lebo being double teamed. Gets to the basket. Will he put up a shot in time? Gets the buzzer beater layup to go. So a good end to the first half for the champions with some points from Shahid Solivo, but overall a rough first 16 minutes from the champion. Not that their scoring was horrible. They put up 17 points, but they trail 31-17 as we enter the halftime break here at Triton College, game number 3 of the Chicagoland Coaches United Invitational, and we welcome you inside our booth, I guess you could call it, above mid-court here at Triton. As we mentioned in our pregame, it's been a fun day of action here, and the afternoon session, if you want to get down here to Triton College, I know it's a little bit of a drive, but it is a very impressive slate of games coming up. After this, Bolingbrook taking on 21st Century. That's a game I do not know much about because I've never heard of the school 21st Century, but that game's coming up around 2:45, and then we have Hyde Park against Romeoville, two teams that really good. Hyde Park has been exploding as a program. They're actually the team head coach Jarrell Oliver's kind of been organizing this event, so they play their game at 4 p.m. Curie taking on Oswego East. Curie's had some up and downs, but they're still one of the top teams in the area, and Oswego East, we've already talked about them. They've had an excellent start to the season. They play at 5:30. Then probably the game of the day, Kenwood taking on an out-of-state team, St. Mary from Michigan. Kenwood's one of the marquee attractions in Chicagoland high school basketball. That game will get underway coming up at 7 p.m. and then the nightcap at 8:30 p.m. Proviso East taking on Perspective. So those are 5 more very good games on tap here at Triton College here at the Chicagoland Coaches Unite Invitational. But first, 16 more minutes to go in this one, and Lane Tech's going to need to quickly change some things. And I know Josh Pickett was the player we said to watch coming in, but it's really been Calvin Savage who's been the player of the game so far for West Aurora. He's done a really good job finding ways inside the score. He's hit some jumpers, and also just a really good job as one of the main point guards for this team, facilitating the style of play. I've been really impressed with West Aurora, just the different ways they have found to score. They've hit some outside shots, but we really have not seen the three ball falling that much for either one of these teams, but they've adjusted. They've had some 10, 15-foot jumpers. They've had some putback shots. The offensive rebounding has been really good for West Aurora, and just all of that has been really good. On the defensive side of things, it's also been a good performance from West Aurora. Lane Tech is without a couple of their top scorers, including their leading scorer, I believe, Dalton Scantlebury. He's had a streak of 6+ I believe, 6 straight 15+ point games. So that is definitely hurting for Lane Tech, those points right now. But they've done a really good job of shutting down Shahid Salibo. He's gotten some good shots, but getting double teamed, triple teamed a lot, and because of that, it has led to some lack of scoring from Lane Tech. Only 17 points through the first 16 minutes of play, as we will take you down to the court with just under 4 minutes to go inside this halftime break. Champions trailing 31-17 over the West Aurora Blackhawks. This would drop Lane Tech to under the 500 mark for the first time, I believe, since the opener of the season. They started the year 0-1, but by the end of the week they were 2-2. They have not been under 500 since that first game. So this is a game Lane Tech does not want to lose, but they're going to have to make some big locker room adjustments to get back into this one. As we mentioned, it's a big upcoming week for Lane Tech. They take on their toughest opponent yet this year. And if you're thinking this schedule sounds pretty hard for Lane Tech already, it's going to get a lot harder. They still have games against 2 top 10 teams in the area, and that starts off Tuesday against St. Ignatius, currently ranked number 9 in the area. 5 p.m. home tip-off for the champions. That should be a fun one from Lane Gymnasium, but albeit will be a tough one for the champions. And then the second game coming up this week is going to be the first true home game of the year, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. We are almost a month into the season. At that point, we will have been a month into the season. Lane Tech has yet to play a true away game. They've played 3 neutral games, this being the third one, but every other game, all 7 others have been on the home court at Lane Gymnasium. They're going to travel up to Northside, so a short drive, much shorter than this one for the champions, but it'll be interesting to see how Lane Tech plays in a true away environment for the first time this season, as West Aurora is going to make their way onto the court with just over 2 minutes to go inside the halftime break. We'll take you around the conference here, the Chicago Public Red Northwest, with some good action here on this Saturday. A couple of matchups around the country, I guess you can say. A couple of teams that have actually headed outside of the state borders here for some action. That always happens near the holiday break, but taking you through those games. Whitney Young had an early morning game against Little Rock Christian over in Arkansas, and I saw before this one got started that Whitney Young was able to take the win in that one, so they bounced back from a loss last night in Arkansas and get the win here today. Westinghouse is traveling to Auburn for a 6 p.m. tip-off here tonight. Farragut had the game earlier, a forfeit loss, we believe, against Rich. That was the second game of the day here at this shootout. Perspectives is traveling to Chicago Military for a 5 p.m. tip-off. And then Prosser is taking on Los Angeles, Washington, in California. When I saw this schedule, I was very surprised to see that, but turns out Prosser does actually have a California trip on their schedule. You see sometimes like the very, very top teams in the area going on those long trips, but Prosser, who right now is sitting at the bottom of the conference, is really expanding their level of play, I guess you could say, out to California for a trip this week. as just under 30 seconds to go on the halftime clock. Lane Tech is just exiting their halftime talk with the coaching staff, so I'm not sure if they're going to warm up at all here for the second half or if we're just going to get straight to it. Looks like we are going to just go straight into action here, so we will see who the 5 are on the court to start off for both of these teams in the second half. 31-17, the lead for the West Aurora Blackhawks over the Lane Tech champions. Some diverse scoring from West Aurora, led by Calvin Savage, who's been a very good floor general tonight for the Blackhawks. Lane Tech, meanwhile, they've seen some good glimpses out of Shahid Salibo. We saw Labcon hit an early 3, but they've just struggled to find consistency through the first 16 minutes of play. And we'll see if they can pick that up here in quarter number 3. It'll be Blackhawks basketball out of the halftime break on the court. Looks like it may be the starting 5 of Brooks, Savage, Pickett, Samp, and Smith. So it will be those 5 for the Blackhawks, and for the champions it will be Labcon, Aquino, Solibo, Pepper, and Williams. So both teams go with their starting 5 to start off this quarter number 3 of play. Blackhawks in their white jerseys going from left to right now across your screen. Lane Tech in their green jerseys. They'll be going from right to left once they get possession. So get it to Savage. Some screening down low, and they're going to call an offensive foul. It was a nice move from Brooks to try a screen on either Williams or Labcon there, and they were trying to get an open lane for Smith to kind of run and get open for a shot. They are going to call a foul down low, and an early foul here, just 15 seconds into quarter number 3 here at Triton College. So Lane Tech will get the ball back with no damage done yet this half from their opponent. Labcon searching, finds Williams. Couple of baskets in the first half for the junior for Lane Tech, trying to dance around Smith. That is a very tough defensive assignment for Williams, as Solibo misses the floater, and the Blackhawks will get it back. We saw very low scoring to start off the first quarter of play. So out of the gate, there was only 2 points scored through the first 2+ minutes of play. We'll see if after the extended halftime break, a similar pattern emerges. Neither of the teams have found their way on the scoreboard through the first minute of play here, as they pass it out to Pickett, driving right-hand side, puts up the layup, can't get it to go. That would have been a very acrobatic finish, and fighting for the rebound, Williams comes up with it. Labcon thinks about it, instead gives it to Aquino. Another 3 missed here from Lane Tech. I think they've only made 2 threes on the night. I know Labcon hit one, and I want to say maybe Williams or Aquino hit one, but either 1 or 2 threes, I believe, made on the night here from the champions, as Pickett tries for one of his own. He cannot get it to go. A nice rebound by Smith, who sends it to a cutting Pickett. Ball punched away. Possession will stay with the Blackhawks here. So 6:19 now to go in quarter number 3. Still no points on the scoreboard from either one of these teams, as Solibo tried for the quick steal off of Pickett, but he will just send it out of bounds. Not a super big crowd on hand, but some parents and fans making the trip up for today's Invitational. There are a lot of college coaches watching. Can't see it on our screen. We can put the camera over there quickly. In like the bottom left-hand corner, they have a taped-off area for college coaches and media, but looking at their hats, I believe most of them are college coaches, as they are going to somehow going to stay with West Aurora. I think he might have not gotten the inbound in at all. For a second there, it looked like Lane was going to get a lucky break, but instead they're going to keep possession with West Aurora, and a travel called on Pickett, who was ready to finish with an electric jam there, but it will not count, and the champions will get the basketball back. 6:11 here to go in quarter number 3. No scoring yet from either one of these teams this half, as they give it to Solibo, who quickly puts it over to Labcon, who brings things up the court here, being guarded by Savage. Still the starting 5 on the court here for the champions. Pepper got a man on the ground and can't finish with the 2. Pepper's kind of been thrusted into that #1 role for the 5 position here as a quick 2 finish by Sam. Not something he's used to doing. He's been playing as the backup all year long, having to play some more minutes here tonight, and has had some struggles. Made it 1 quick early basket, but we saw a missed shot there as it now traveled from Labcon. Gives the Blackhawks back possession, up by 16 points here in the 3rd quarter, 5.5 to play. Pickett looks like he's ready to do some damage to the basket. Can't finish with the N1, but he will head to the line. It makes it even more impressive, that super high free throw percentage, because it's not like he's only shot 15, 20 free throws on the year. He's been shooting a lot of free throws, and he's just been so consistent with making them. In his first 6 games, 45 free throws attempted. He made 37 of them. So this has been a very consistent thing for Josh Pickett. He gets a lot of his points from the charity stripe, and it's been working for him early on as he hits another 2 from the line here and extends the lead up to 18. West Aurora close to pushing this to a 20-point deficit. Williams pushes it out to Pepper. A little bit of a 5-out offense here for Lane Sack. The excellent pass there from Aquino to Williams, but just slips through the hands there of the junior for Lane Sack, and Lane will not get that easy look at the layup. I'm kind of surprised. Aquino had the open lane. I think he was kind of preset on that play because he had the open lane to the basket, decided to pass it instead, but ends up not paying off for the champions here. With 5 minutes now to go in quarter number 3. Savage almost loses the basketball. Now pulls for the long 3 off the mark. Salibo grabs the rebound. Not sure of his rebounding total, but it's going to be high here tonight. The quick pass ahead to Williams, who redeems himself for that last mistake and hits the quick 2. Now in transition, Savage to Smith, who finishes the layup alley-oop. And it seems like whenever Lane Sack gets a little bit of momentum, West Aurora is right there to get them back with it. We saw that nice play to Williams, but Savage to Smith, a great connection there as Salibo pulls from the free throw line, and after a couple of seconds, that one does fall in. So 2 straight made shots here from the champions. They have not really been able to cut into this deficit, though, because it seems like the Blackhawks have been able to respond every single time. This time they won't be able to, though, as Labcon draws the charge foul from West Aurora that was called against Pickett. And the champions will get it back, trailing by 16. So there are a couple of baskets and a couple of shots away from playing this back at a single-digit deficit, but we'll see if they can keep up the offensive momentum. Pepper with the open 3, can't get to go. Williams fighting for the rebound, can't get it. In transition, Smith goes straight to the basket and finishes with the dram. An excellent play there by Terrence Smith, and Salibo will get pulled down on a pass on the opposite end of things. Smith with his 2nd highlight reel play of the night, and extends the lead back up to 18, as we're going to see Pickett check out the game for McLean here. Labcon inbounding things near side of the court, gets it to Pepper, who fakes the handoff. He's going to go straight to the basket and can't finish with the 2. Williams there as though for the quick putback. A couple of nice minutes here from Parker Williams, keeping Lane Sack in this one, but we've seen some very nice responses from West Aurora, and if they hit a couple more of these plays, this one might be out of reach. The step back 2 hit by Brooks, and it seems like everyone's starting to score here for West Aurora. This is a team that, I don't know if you'd say has a lot of depth. I think they've only had 7 players hit the court here tonight, maybe 8, but when they do have players come into the game, the players who do play, they all know how to score the basketball, as Aquino pulls for a 3 on the outside and hits it. So nice shot there from Lorenzo Aquino to pull within 15. 2:50 to go here, quarter number 3 of action. They get to Savage. And this is where you see the shot clock kind of coming in handy. Instead of this turning it into kind of a waiting match, we've seen both of the offenses kind of keep going, especially West Aurora. They've not been able to hold the basketball because they only have 35 seconds to take a shot. And it is causing for some quicker games and some more competitive games here in IHSA play. As spin move, Brooks down low, can't finish the and one, but will head to the line. Brooks has had an impressive game. Out of the gate, he was playing very well in these last couple of minutes, hitting that nice corner shot, and now we'll head to the free throw line to try to add some points to his total. Entering this week, beating out the 78.2%. Brooks was shooting 80% from the line as he gets the lucky bounce there as this one falls. Him and Savage, both juniors, as well as Pickett, so that's going to be a very good trio next year. But this Blackhawks team is hoping they can also be a contender this year, as Labcon will get trapped up in the corner and he gets fouled. Apologies, folks. Our camera went out there quickly. We'll try to get this back up and running as quickly as possible. There we go. 42-26 your score. West Aurora with the lead over Lane Tech late in quarter number 3. Aquino just had to save that one from heading into the back court. Now he'll dribble into a tough matchup with McLean, trying to make things happen to the left-hand side. He hands it off to Saliba, who loses the basketball, fighting on the ground, and a timeout here called quickly from Jordan Brooks. It's going to be a 30-second timeout, the first one called this game for the Blackhawks. A heads-up play there by Brooks. I thought for a second they were going to call it back court because his legs were on the left side of the court, but I guess it's just the placement of the ball, not the player. So a heads-up play there from Jordan Brooks as his team heads back to the bench with a 16-point lead here, 2:11 to go in quarter number 3. This is a short timeout, 30 seconds for head coach Brian Johnson to talk with his team, and I'm sure he is very happy what he has seen out of his squad here today and out of his squad these last couple of games. He's saying, I was emailing with him this week. He said they've had their stretches where they've struggled this year. They have their highs and lows even in the middle of games, but as of late, they've been bouncing back quickly. They had some mistakes early on in the season, but they've won 4 straight now, and they look in good contention to make it 5 straight heading into Pontiac about 11 days from now. So they are going to have a interesting rest period. They have this week of school, no games. I assume West Aurora is on the same winter break schedule as Lane Tech is, but they should have a week off this week of games and then Christmas, and then they're back into action on the 28th facing off against Pontiac, as West Aurora will keep possession here. They just moved the inbound from the near side to the far side. He's done a good job trying to do some trap defenses. They've had some deflections of the ball, but the shooter's just too talented here today from West Aurora for Lane Tech to fully stop them, as an open Brooks in the corner pulls for another 3 and drains it. He's been the probably best player on the court here in the second half, and Jordan Brooks just heating up, gets the lead to 19 as West Aurora looks to go up by 20. Williams thinks about the response 3, instead goes for the long 2 and can't get the bounce to go. And the save from Pepper goes into the hands of Brooks. So West Aurora back in transition, 70 seconds to go, and a cutting Sam hits the 2. Apologies, I think our camera went out for that shot, but a very nice quick 2 there from Billy Sam, as the champions now fall behind by more than 20. Last week's game against Lamont, another showcase game, we saw Lane fall behind big in the third quarter. A little bit of a renaissance of extra energy came in the fourth. They were able to cut the lead down to just a couple of possessions, single digits in the fourth, but it ended up being too little too late. And I'm wondering, even if Lane Tech is able to mount some sort of a comeback in the fourth quarter, it may be too little too late again, because they are drawing themselves into a hole here in the fourth quarter. That was a timeout called by head coach Nicholas Legalbo, the team's second of the game. Out of the timeout, Omar Bushalumfa is going to check in for the second time here today. 59 seconds left in the third quarter, so just a hair under 9 minutes left of gameplay here at Triton College in game number 3 here of the Chicagoland Coaches United Invitational. A wordy title. They might want to change that up a little bit for next year, but a very good event so far from what I've seen put on here at Triton. It was originally going to be at Morden College, and they were bouncing back and forth between these two places, but they settle on Triton, who, for teams for junior colleges in the Chicagoland area, Triton College is one of, if not the best junior college when it comes to men's basketball. I believe their women's basketball team pretty good as well. There's a lot of talent that comes here and is able to end up playing at other schools just because of the development they have of their players here at Triton, as we're going to break the timeout with possession for West Aurora. So they'll have the length of the court to go here, and it will be Savage bringing things up the court. 58 seconds left, so about 2 shot clock rotations if the teams hold for a long possession here. McLean gets it quickly to Brooks with the hot hand in the corner. 3 on its way. Savage was falling after taking that shot, and it goes off the hands of one of the Blackhawks defenders, so the champions will get it back. 40.8 seconds on the clock, and they will have another substitution as Evans comes back into the game. The active substituting has worked well. We have not really seen a lot of tired players on the court for the Blackhawks as Labcon looks to find an open lane, backing into McLean, hands it off to Solivo. Now back to Labcon. He tries to get inside the paint and finishes with a 2. Second basket of the game for Jackson Labcon. 19 seconds on the clock. Shot clock off here to end the third quarter. They send the long pass to Brooks, gets it poked away, and Piper was ready to send that ahead to Solivo, but pass was just a little too low. Lane Tech will keep possession, though, now with just 7.8 seconds. Lane's not going to burn a timeout here. They got the deficit back within 20. We'll see if they can add some points. Abishalumfa out to Solivo. 2 seconds now on the clock. He pulls for 3. Can't get to go. And that will bring us to the end of 3 quarters of play. West Aurora takes control. They lead 47-28 as we enter the final 8 minutes of play. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech Boys Basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Eight more minutes to play here in game number 3 of today's Invitational as Lane Tech looks for a big comeback. They trail by 19 as we enter the 4th quarter of play here, and it looks like currently West Aurora is going to keep their starters in, so it's going to be no easy task for this Lane Tech team to mount a comeback. It'll be Solibo, Williams, Pepper, Labcon, and Abishalumfa, your 5 on the court. So 4 of the starters plus Abishalumfa instead of Aquino here for the champions. As Lane Tech will inbound it to start things off. Gets it to Labcon, and the clock underway here in quarter number 4. Labcon almost loses it, has to flip it up behind his back to keep a backcourt violation, but it will go straight into the hands of Smith here. Now Pickett pulls for 3. He's missed some of those shots here tonight, but will not on that one as West Aurora extends their lead to 22, the largest it's been tonight, and they get to the 50-point mark here with 7:30 to go. Abishalumfa fakes a 3, drives in, and a blocking foul called. So we'll see free throws coming up here for Abishalumfa. 7:27 to go in quarter number 4 of action. Abishalumfa was out the first week of the season with injury. We've seen a couple of minutes out of him in a few games this year. I believe today's definitely been the most minutes he has gotten in a game yet, and he'll look to get on the scoreboard here with 2 free throws. First shot is up and nothing but net there. Try one more of those to get Lane Tech to the 30-point mark. 51 to 20. Oh, scoreboard. There it goes. 29 is your score, and second shot will not fall, so we'll keep it at a 21-point game here. Savage puts the pass out to Brooks. 5 very capable players on the court right now for the Blackhawks. I mean, you have a starting 5 core like this. You have Brooks, who's shown he's a threat from outside. Smith, who brings some good size to this team. Pickett, obviously one of the best teams in the area, best players in the area. Savage, and then Samp has provided some good height down low. It's just a very well put together starting 5 for this West Aurora team. They obviously got Savage as a transfer, but just this team was constructed very well this season, and they're in for some good stuff heading into the second half of the season as Labcon pulls for 3, gets it to go, his 3rd made shot of the night. He has 8 and gets Lane Tech over the 30-point mark here. Driving in, nice block here by Pepper. And West Aurora will reset their offense. 6.5 to play here underneath the basket. Pickett, I guess you could call that a windmill layup. Put it up at a very strange time, but still is able to get the shot to fall. Now here comes Savage to the basket, finishes with the 2. Smith was there to put it in had he missed. Avoids the goaltending and gets 2 more points here. Pepper on the other side of things, hits the and one. Interesting shot there from Dylan Pepper. The block, it looked like it made some contact with him, but it was pushing straight down on the ball. And because of that, some very impressive scoring here as Kenny Rosario will check into the game for Parker Williams. First appearance into the game since early second quarter for Rosario. It's been interesting what this Lane Tech coaching staff has done with Rosario. He's been kind of a main defensive piece for Lane as offensive rebound to Solibo, who hits the 3. Nice sequence there for Lane Tech. Trying to hang around in this one. 54 to 37, 6 minutes to play. Down low, Labcon pushes it away. Solibo in transition has a Bushalumfa to his right, had Labcon to his left, but can't finish the shot to the left, the pass to the left-hand side. And West Aurora will slow down the pace of things. The Blackhawks comfortable with a 17-point lead, 5:40 to go here. They get it to Brooks. Been dangerous from that other side for 3. Does not take the 3-point shot here. Pickett with the offensive rebound. Ball's bouncing around, and they are going to say free throws here. So interesting. They call that an offensive foul, and Pickett, who else, will head back to the line. Missed 2 early free throws, but since then his free throws have been a very good part of this game for the Blackhawks as he misses the shot there. 5:29 to go, quarter number 4 of action. Brian Johnson had very good things to say about Pickett as a player, saying even though the high level he is playing with right now, he continues to just grow as a player, and that's one of the things he's very impressed with, knows how to score at so many different levels, and we've seen that here tonight as Rosario with a quick turnover into the hands of the Blackhawks. Pickett with the pass down low. Brooks gets it. Now back out. Smith for 3. That would have been quite the sequence of plays there for the Blackhawks, and the whistle is going to blow against... Oh, they're going to call that a foul against West Aurora there. So that's going to put Lane Tech into the bonus as we see Drew Bartoli check into the game for Dylan Pepper. 5:10 now to go in the game. So after Lane Tech put West Aurora into the bonus pretty early on in the first half, now the tables have switched, and Lane Tech will have 5 minutes to shoot free throws after getting fouled here, as Rosario hits the first one to earn his second shot. Last night, West Aurora put up 63 points in their home win against Manuka. We'll see if they can get over that mark here. It was interesting. We've talked about how many home games Lane Tech has had. Last night's game against Manuka was the first home game West Aurora had this season, so they had to wait 9 games before having a home contest this season. But they were able to have a good performance in front of their home fans. I saw a photo from the game last night. It looks like a good turnout for that home opener. Solivo in transition, pulls for the college three, can't get to go. Bartoli fighting for the rebounds. Can't get 2 hands on it though. Now in transition, Savage, a big block there, but there for the putback is Smith. Lane tried to push it to Bartoli in transition. 4.5 now to play. And a quick 2, unable to fall here from Smith. Apologies, folks. Our camera gave out here, but there it goes back. 4:19 to go. And another foul called is going to lead to more free throw shots as Parker Williams and Braden Rosenkrantz get ready to check back into the game. So we'll see 2 fouls here momentarily for the champions and a timeout called by the Blackhawks. So they called their second timeout of the evening. 4:19 to go here, 57-38 with West Aurora with the lead over the champions. They've kind of hung around this 20-point mark for most of the second half now. They haven't pushed it above that mark at all. They're not blowing this one out past the 20-point mark. I'm not sure if that's a courtesy thing or if they've kind of just reached their peak lead against this Lane Tech team, but they've done a very good job of not letting any runs from this Lane Tech team. We have not seen more than 1 or 2 straight baskets scored by this Lane Tech team in the second half, and especially in this fourth quarter. They have done a very good job shutting down this Lane Tech offense. And Lane Tech looks like they are en route to their 3rd straight loss. We knew there was going to be some growing pains with this young Lane Tech team, but they are going to really have to reassess themselves heading into next week, and then they'll have 12 days off. Their last game in 2022 is on the 22nd. That is Thursday. They don't play until 2 days after New Year's, January 3rd. So there's going to be a good chunk of time there between their Northside and their Schurz game, and then it's even longer before Lane Tech gets back into conference play. They play on January 11th at home against Lincoln Park as Labcon hits the first shot, and we'll get the second one. Not quite the double bonus yet for Lane Tech, but 2 more fouls would put them into that as the second shot is up and good. So Labcon now up to double digits. He checks out of the game, and it will be Rosenkrantz, Rosario, Abushalumfa, Bartoli, and Williams, your 5 on the court. So a lot of young talent on the court right now. Abushalumfa, the only senior for the champions right now, playing. Just over 4 minutes to go in the game. 2:45 local time here in Triton. At Triton, I should say. As they put it in the corner to McLean, and looks like an offensive foul is going to be called there. So Lane Tech gets possession back. 57-40, 17-point lead for West Aurora. Rosario trying to push it in transition. They give it out to Williams here, down low to Rosario, who hits the nice 2 there. Nice shot from Kenny Rosario. He's had a couple of baskets this year and hits one of his longer jumpers of the season to cut it to a 15-point game. Savage driving in and gets some contact there from Parker Williams to make that team foul number 4 on the champions this half. 3:27 to go in the second half of play. As we see Evans check in for the Blackhawks here. I'm not sure if I've seen any player check as many times into a game as I've seen Michael Evans do here. I've not been keeping track, but it seems he's just been going in and out of the game for different players. As Rosenkrantz for the three, misses it, but Bartoli there for his second basket of the night. Nice putback there for the junior, and gets Lane Tech to the 44-point mark. So even if it's too late for a comeback, definitely a chance Lane Tech could get this to a single-digit lead. As Pickett misses the three, Rosario with the rebound. Lane Tech has numbers, 4-on-1. They send it to Williams, doesn't have time to take a dribble, but still able to convert the two. So an 11-point lead now here, 2:45 to go, quarter number 4. And as we were saying, this is almost the exact same storyline we saw from when Lane Tech played Lamont just a week ago. Lamont took things over in the third quarter. We knew the game was kind of coming to the end. Then Lane Tech was able to mount almost a comeback in the fourth quarter. Ended up being a 9-point win for Lamont, as the two down low missed by Evans, fighting for the rebound. Foul called against West Aurora, and we'll see if they call it offensive or not. It is going to be free throws. So Lane Tech now with the chance to cut this to single digits. I believe that's team foul number 9, so it still will be a 1-and-1, and they're going to have Parker Williams shooting the shots here with 2:16 to go. We have seen West Aurora try to take up as much of the 35-second shot clock as possible these last couple of minutes, and they've done a pretty good job, but but they've been kind of choosing to take the time off instead of add points to the scoreboard. They've been stuck at 57 for the last couple of possessions, as Evans checks back out of the game for number 11, Jordan Brooks. As Williams misses the first free throw, but grabs his own rebound, so possession will stay with the champions, and a 30-second timeout called by head coach Nick Lagalbo, so they will talk things over. Saw Williams getting stuck in the corner there and decides wants to keep possession, so Lane Tech will call timeout number 3. 57-46. Lane Tech trails the West Aurora Blackhawks here. 2:12 to go in quarter number 4 of play. Coming up after this one, it should be a fun one between Bolingbrook and 21st Century. That one was originally supposed to be a 2:45 p.m. tip-off. Not going to happen, as it's already past 2:45 here, but they've been getting the games going pretty quickly. We almost started this one much later than we did, but because of the forfeit, they forfeited the game about 4 minutes into the third quarter, so this one did not end up getting started that much later than it was originally expected to. As Parker Williams will inbound it underneath the basket. Shahid Salibo checks into the game for the champions, and they get it to Rosario, who puts up the quick 2 and over. Did not have the height advantage there, but Rosario still able to hit the 2. 2 minutes to go. Lead back down to single digits for the first time this half. Pickett puts it out to Savage, trying to put this one away, and that one might have done it. An excellent cut to the basket there by Savage. On the ground, grabbing the basketball and immediately calling timeout. A great hustle play there from Brooks, who has done more than just scoring tonight. He's put his body on the line. He's done a lot of good playing here tonight. Probably would be my player of the game for the Blackhawks here. And they will get possession back up by 9 here with 1:46 to go. I think they call it a full timeout there, so be a full minute for Brian Johnson to talk with his squad here. Looking through the lineup, I think we have still only seen 7 players check into the game. We've seen Savage, McLean, Pickett, Brooks, Evans, Sam, and Smith. I'm pretty sure those are the only 7 guys who have played tonight. And if you've been looking on the West Aurora bench, there's a lot of guys who still have their warm-ups on. This is a West Aurora team that travels with a roster of about 15 guys, 14 tonight, 1 player not with the team, but they have other players they can use, but they are just really rolling with a 7-man rotation, the definition of a 7-man rotation here tonight against Lane Tech. I was not able to watch any of their games beforehand. I imagine this may be something they usually do, but that is what they are going to do, and they're going to stick with those 7 guys as they look to close this one out. 1:46 to go, 59-48. The Blackhawks lead. They will be inbounding it underneath their scoring baskets. It's going to be Savage, it looks like, inbounding things. 35 seconds on the shot clock. I imagine about 2 possessions per team, maybe 3, unless Lane Tech really tries to foul and wiggle their way back into this one. Savage gets it to Pickett. A quick steal here from Bartoli. And he gets trapped up but gives it to Salibo. And the foul's going to be called on Salibo off the ball here. Seen some late fouls against Salibo. Saw it against Farragut. He ended up fouling out in overtime and now gets tabbed with the foul here with 98 seconds to go. That's still going to just be team foul number 5 on the champions. So they still have a foul to give before putting West Aurora into the bonus. However, possession will stay with the Blackhawks, and it looks like Lane Tech is not going to do a full court press here. They're going to let Savage easily get the inbound pass. Now back and forth play with McLean. Savage goes up the middle, and wide open lane there for Shahid Salibo, but the whistle blows first. And not sure what number they called that one against. We don't have an announcer here, but it will be, once again, West Aurora basketball. Shot clock resets, 1:31 to go in the game. Now no more fouls to give for the champions. Next foul will put the Blackhawks into the bonus as they roll it around the perimeter. 1:20 on the clock, 25 on the shot clock. They find an open McLean for 3, misses it, rebounded by Rosario. And Lane looking for some quick points here to get it back to a single-digit game. Bashalumfa cuts to the basket, finishes with the 2. He's had a couple of nice baskets here today and gets Lane Tech to the 50-point mark. This is the same margin it was last week against Lamont, 9 points at the end of the game, and Smith misses the dunk, and a foul's going to be called here. Not sure where, it must have been off the ball foul, but that will be foul number 7, and this will put the Blackhawks into bonus. We'll see if they called that a shooting foul or if it was after Smith tried for the dunk. That would have been his 3rd dunk of the day, but just an inch or 2 off. And they are going to call it a shooting foul, so even though he misses the first one, the sophomore will get another chance at it. I mentioned this earlier. He's a very good athlete. He's a really good wide receiver for this team, for the Blackhawks football team. Obviously a big part of this basketball team. He's going to have a good future 2+ years at West Aurora for their athletics, as another foul is going to be called. And we'll see Williams head to the line. So 42.1 seconds left. Lane Tech with the chance to cut this to a 7-point lead. They don't have the timeouts on the scoreboard here. I believe it's either 2 or 3 for Lane Tech and the same for West Aurora when it comes to timeouts. Both teams are in the bonus. However, Lane Tech is in the double bonus now. And possession arrow points towards the Blackhawks, should it come to that, as Evans readies to check back into the game for Pickett. So Pickett comes off the court here, even as this game gets probably a little too close for comfort for the Blackhawks here. Odds would give them a fairly high win probability still, but game getting a little closer here in the 4th as Williams makes the first. Salibo did not realize they were in the double bonus there, so he's going for the rebound, but would not have mattered anyways. As Williams, to cut it to a 7-point game, does so. So 59-52 the score. Lane Tech goes into a full court press and poked away almost straight into the hands of Saliba almost grabbed that one. Instead, it will go out of bounds, but some nice inbound defense there. Takes about 0.5 seconds off the clock. And now McLean's going to be forced to inbound it from the corner of the court. A less than ideal situation. Savage breaks free, and that is who will bring it up the court. 36 seconds on the clock. Lane would have to foul soon if they're going to do it. Evans to the basket. They swing it to the top of the perimeter. 27 seconds left on the clock, and they will finally foul. They foul Savage here, who's probably not who you want at the line. With 25.5 seconds left. Shot clock will be off for the remainder of the game here after these free throws. As Savage misses the first one, and Lane Tech will get it back. 20 seconds left on the clock. Bashalumfa works it to Bartoli. Lane needs some quick points. Player on the ground. Bartoli ditches it off to Williams, who hits the two, and a full timeout going to be called here by the champions. So just like that, it's a 5-point game. Lane Tech probably took a little too much time than they would have wanted on that possession. However, we've seen some missed 3 free throws, and it is just a 2-possession game. A 3 and a 2 would tie it up. So it's going to be interesting to see. I imagine Lane's going to go with a pretty big full court press here, and then if they're not able to block it, then it will go back to fouling as the first resort for the champions. And I mean, it's obviously hard to play what ifs in high school basketball, but you got to imagine, had Lane Tech had Dalton Scansbury an extra 6 foot 6 inches on the court right now, this could be a very different game. Lane is hanging with this West Aurora squad in the 4th quarter, and that's with missing 2 of their starters in Jack Soar and Dalton Scansbury. So there's some negatives, but there's definitely some positives to take out of this game for the champions, no matter what happens in these last 13.6 seconds of play. 59-54, West Aurora leads. So Lebo's going to be guarding the inbound here from Brooks. Savage gets open, and they're going to push him out of bounds. He almost just stepped out of bounds. It will take about 2 seconds off the clock. That is team foul number 9, so it is still a 1-and-1. We saw Savage miss the front end of a 1-and-1 just a couple of seconds ago, but it is hard to imagine 2 missed free throws in a late game situation like this from Calvin Savage. Started off the season very strong. Had a good Thanksgiving week. His team fell in the Hoops for Healing Thanksgiving Championship game. Now he's hoping to close out this invitational with free throw. He hits the first one. That's not the big one, though. The big one's going to be the second one. Currently at a 6-point game, as we see a full timeout called by Lane Tech. So that moves it to a 6-point game. If he hits the second one, it's a 7-point game, a 3-possession game. That's pretty much going to end it. But a big second free throw coming up after this timeout from Lane Tech, and it will be up to the East Aurora transfer to try to ice the game for West Aurora, get his team their 5th straight win. Now it would be against Oswego, Plainfield North, Naperville Central, the big win last night against Manuka, and then trying to get a win here against Lane Tech before their week off, heading into Pontiac. Lane Tech, meanwhile, should the result hold, drops their 3rd straight game, moves to 5-6, and both their overall and conference record will be under 500. And barring an upset win against St. Ignatius, they could very well be heading into 2023 with losing records in both overall and conference play. As Savage heads to the line, they're going to put no one in the paint rebounding. You see McLean there just outside the perimeter, but all the other guys either at or near the back court. It looks like it's going to be Jeffrey Tyson checking into the game for the first time here tonight. So that will be player number 8 who has hit the court for the Blackhawks if he has time to sub into the game. Second free throw is up, and it is good. They will move the sub into the game, and that should do it. 61-54, West Aurora with the lead over the champions. Long pass from Labcon to Salibo. He gets it, needs to fire up the three and can't get it to go. Smith gets the rebound. They are going to foul him, but that should just about do it. Labcon looked like a quarterback there. Just threw it way up the court. It was a good throw. Salibo came down with the catch, but kind of had to rush that shot there, and as a result, was not able to hit the three, and now they will send Smith to the line, looking to build this to as much as a 9-point lead. Braden Rosenkrantz ready to check into the game. Not sure who he's coming in for. That is team foul number 10 on Lane Tech, so this will be 2 free throws as they check in Rosenkrantz for Williams, and looks like it'll be Williams, Salibo, Labcon, Rosario, and the Bush Alumni, your 5 on the court here to close out the game for the champions. Smith, the sophomore, trying to add to his point total. He misses the first one off the front of the rim. As we mentioned earlier, Smith already with a D1 offer. The NIU Huskies have offered him to play college basketball at the next level. Would not be surprised to see him get a few more offers as he misses both the free throws. Labcon fires up a last three, can't get to go, and that will bring us to the end of this one. A nice last effort there from Lane Tech, but after West Aurora took control pretty much the entire first 3+ quarters of the game, they end up with a 61-54 victory here. That's going to advance West Aurora to 8-3 on the year. They are the winners of 5 straight now. Very impressive recent stretch from them. Lane Tech, meanwhile, drops to 5-6 overall, heading into their final week of action this 2022 part of the schedule. Next week, we'll be on the air at 4:55 p.m. on Tuesday for what should be a sellout maybe game against St. Ignatius. A lot of hype heading into that game. Ignatius ranked number 9 in the area. They might move up in this week's poll, this week's rankings. I'm not sure, but that's going to be a very tough task for Lane Tech, but we'll see what the champions can do for the Wolfpack. Meanwhile, for West Aurora, they move on to a week off before Pontiac coming up in a couple of weeks. Good performances across the board tonight from West Aurora. Calvin Savage, Josh Pickett, Terrence Smith, Big Three, all very impressive, but Jordan Brooks came alive in the third quarter. He was very impressive for the Blackhawks and really helped finish out this win for this West Aurora team, and he'll be a big part of this team moving forward. But that's just about all the coverage we have here tonight. Your final score from game number 3 of the Chicagoland Coaches United Invitational at Triton College. West Aurora Blackhawks 61, Lane Tech Champions 54. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.